My line's coming up and I'm getting nervous cause I have no idea what to say. I thought I was prepared for my part, but I memorized lines from a different play. I don't know why I was cast because clearly I'm not right for this role.
Hello all, my name is Mark Dippel. Thanks to everybody for listening. You can find me on the internet at my website, markdippel.com. It's got a lot of really dorky stuff to read on it, plus links to my music on Bandcamp and SoundCloud.
And I just don't belong. Born in the wrong state, on the wrong date. About 104 years too late, I'm a house guest at the wrong address. Feeling confused, misplaced and clueless.
I honestly don't have any memory of getting into music, because I think I was just born already into it, like it was just part of my natural personality. Even as a tiny little kid, I absorbed everything in my dad's record collection and everything I heard on the radio, always fully aware of any music playing anywhere around me. I always knew that one way or another, it was going to be a major part of my life forever, that I was more than just a listener. So I never really had that aha moment of discovery where I was suddenly more inspired or more interested to dig deeper or go farther. It was just never really an option not to do that. My first real experience learning how to play an instrument was in 6th grade, when I joined the middle school band and started on trombone. There was never any question in my mind that, as soon as I possibly could, I absolutely wanted to join the school band. And ever since then, I've always been interested in learning how to play as many different instruments as I could. If it makes noise, I'll give it a try. Over the years, I've kept exploring as many musical paths as possible. I'm a writer, a performer, and I work for Joyful Noise Recordings. I've also been a lifelong collector, a nearly unstoppable force at music trivia, and I've worked at a couple of music stores, one of which paid me in records instead of cash, and that was totally fine by me. Even though I live and breathe nonstop music all day, every day, I think what illustrates all of my obsessive passion the most effectively is my creative process of songwriting. The lifetime of inspiration, motivation, memories, and encyclopedic knowledge that I have stored in my brain all break loose and play a part in the construction of a new song. I know that sounds really intense and frantic, and it is, but it's actually a very long, slow-paced, drawn-out kind of intense and frantic.
I come away with only green beans after waiting for well over an hour and a half in the lunch line. You'll pardon my apparent inability to take a joke if getting completely fucked over is the punchline. Hey there, cool cat, hey daddy-o, tell Doc Brown I need to borrow the car. I gotta get back in time to make a couple repairs, cause the quality control was not up to par. Once again, if I come home...
I'm the slowest songwriter in history. I obsess endlessly for months, sometimes even years, just to complete one song. The lyrics are always my first step. At first, a new song starts out in my notebook as a completely formless mess of random pieces that I write down. Sentences or phrases that I think sound unique, unusual words that are fun to rhyme, smart-ass comments, anything that relates to the big picture, central concept of what the song's subject matter is. The next step is to try to give any small portion of this multi-page, semi-legible disaster a structured form with a specific number of beats, a definitive rhythm, and properly accented word flow. Once I get at least a few lines that lock into a solid concrete form, then I feel like I'm ready to take my favorite pieces from all of the notes that I've been scribbling down and fit them into that established structure, almost like a puzzle, adding, altering, and embellishing as I go. While I'm writing the bulk of the lyrics like this, I have not yet even considered chords or melody. I feel the lyrics in a tuneless rhythm, somewhat like rap. This portion of creating a new song goes on for literally months, as I push myself to keep coming up with more ideas that excite me and edit out the pieces that I can't use or that aren't good enough to make the final cut. Once I have most or all of the lyrics done, then I can finally start trying to put chords and melody to it. I typically start figuring out a basic chord progression on guitar, but occasionally I'll use the piano. As I start to put chords together that flow the way I want, I just use my voice to seek out a melody that I like. And no one can be anywhere around me for this, as I hit a lot of out-of-tune, sour notes, until something starts to feel right and gives me that fuck yeah sensation. The longest I ever took to write one song was around 5 years, and it ended up becoming Three-Toed Sloth. I worked, reworked, and re-reworked so many sections of the lyrics so many times. I knew I was on the trail of coming up with something that I really liked, so even though it was regularly frustrating, I never wanted to give up on it. Off and on, over the course of more than 3 years, I kept slowly chiseling away at this one, throughout hundreds of writing sessions, sometimes ending up with a new and improved line, sometimes ending up with zilcho.
Find a way to use that idle time to your advantage. Smothered by a single sheet with only 100 thread count. Content with 7 ounces in a glass that holds twice that amount. Locked inside a cage when the door's not even closed. A three-toed sloth born with 2 extra toes.
When I finally got the lyrics close enough to the point where I thought I could attempt putting music to it, I grabbed my guitar to give it a shot, and got nothing. I wasn't terribly worried about it though, because I had reached that next crucial step in the songwriting process, and that already felt like an achievement. Plus, I know that I always write music a lot faster than I write lyrics, so I'd just try again another day. Another day came, and again, I got nowhere. A little frustrating this time, because I expected to at least get some kind of general idea where this song was going. Many more music writing attempts came, and every single time, I just couldn't even come close to getting anything that felt like it matched what the lyrics were trying to say. After an entire year of gaining no ground at all on the music for this song, one day I suddenly decided to try it on piano. Even though I had written songs on the piano before, it hadn't occurred to me to try it for this one because I had been feeling this song in my head as kind of a punk song. But what the hell, might as well see what happens, since nothing else has worked. I started pounding on the piano, and holy shit, I almost immediately knew that this was the answer. After only about an hour of playing around, I was already fully committed to a good amount of the song's chord progression. Just a few more quick and easy music writing sessions later, I had finished it, and I just had to make a few minor alterations to some lyrics here and there in order to perfect them, and then hallelujah, this whole thing was done! Recording it was another major undertaking, as I wanted to use a lot of different instruments in the mix. The biggest challenge was that I wanted to use a clarinet. And the reason why this was the biggest challenge is that I had never played a clarinet before. My wife had her old middle school clarinet in the basement, untouched for decades, which was most likely in need of several repairs and had a cracked reed. But I was determined to figure it out for myself and make it happen. So I experimented with it for a few days, working on how to get a decent tone out of it, where to place my fingers, because there are too many goddamn keys on those things, and what notes I could get from the keys I hit. I actually picked it up pretty quickly, considering that I had zero knowledge of any woodwind instruments. I was limited to only being able to play low notes, but that was fine with me because I wanted low notes in the song anyway. So if you listen to my recording of Three-Toed Sloth, the clarinet you hear is just from maybe 2 to 3 weeks experience playing it. I may not exactly be ready to join any polka bands with it, but I enjoyed the effect that it brought to the song, and I was proud of the fact that I had pulled it off by myself, especially with a horn that was in barely playable condition. Nothing has taken me as long as Three-Toed Sloth, but all of my writing endeavors are still unreasonably lengthy. I do wish that I were able to crank out songs more frequently, but I am happy about the fact that every time I invest this crazy level of time and effort into creating a song that results in a finished product, it's always something that makes me feel satisfied and proud.
Set your course for the moon, but don't be surprised if you only make it to Michigan. Cold air in your hot air balloon, and the bouncer at the door won't ever let us in. Open the package carefully, it's never what you expect it to be. The total lack of suspense is killing